All right, number one, a bookshelf contains 15 books that each have the same width. The combined width for all 15 books is 12 inches. Which graph has a slope that best models the width of each book? Okay, so we have number of books is X and total width is Y. So 15 books, that must be X, and the width must be Y. So here I need to find the slope. So we're gonna talk about y over x. So I'm gonna start, since 12 inches, the width was y, I'm gonna say 12 over 15. And then I'll be looking to simplify that. So both 12 and 15 is divisible by 3. So I get 4 over 5. So I'm looking for a graph that goes up 4 over 5. Well, this one goes up 4, but only goes over 3. This one goes up 4, and then I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. This one goes up 4, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this one looks like a good choice. Up 4 over 5. And then here, this is just a horizontal line, so that doesn't make any sense. So the only logical answer would be C. The graph of the linear function is shown on the coordinate grid. What are the slope and y-intercept of the graph? Okay, the ordered pairs were given to you. So you can either do this by hand or I could do this in the calculator. So I'll show you both. So by hand, I can already see the y-intercept. The y-intercept, remember, is where this graph intersects the y-axis. So b is equal to -2. So there's my y-intercept. And now I can do rise over run. So from -4 to get up here, I can go, oh, that's at -3, excuse me. So I go up 2, and I go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the right. So for my slope, or my m, that's 2 over 8, which will simplify to 1/4. So the equation I am definitely looking to write is going to be y is equal to 1/4 x plus -2 or -2. Now you had two ordered pairs, so could I have done this in the calculator? Absolutely. So to do it in the calculator, we'd first turn the calculator on, okay? To clear the list, you would be doing seconds plus 4, enter. You get a message that says clear all lists, done. And then I'm going to go through stat. So hit stat. We got to put our points in first, so I go to edit. We want our x values in list 1, so our x values are -4 and +4. Okay, arrow over, our y value was -3, and then we had -1. Then I can go back to stats, arrow over to calc, select option number 4, and I get A is 0.25, B is -2. Remember, you don't need the R or the R squared, that's for algebra. But here it says A is 0.25. Well, I don't like my answers with decimals, so to change a decimal to a fraction, type in the decimal. Then you're going to hit math. The first option is fraction, so I'm going to hit enter, enter. So I got 1/4, which is the equation that I had already written. All right, number 3, write an equation in slope-intercept form that passes through the points -1, 3, and 5, 6. Well, we can do the same method I just showed you on the calculator. So you're going to clear what's there. I need to clear the list, so we're going to do second, which is the blue one, plus 4. Get a message that says clear all lists, done. Then we'll go to stat, enter, because we're going to edit it first. So I'm going to type in my x values in list 1. So we have -1, enter, and then we have 5, enter. I can right arrow over and I can type 3, enter, 6, enter. We go back to stat, right arrow over to calculate. I want the 4th option, linear regression, and I'm going to hit enter until the screen changes. And here I got A is 0.5, B is 3.5. Okay, your equation is y equals mx plus b. Remember, the calculator uses m and a interchangeably. So it said A is 0.5 and B is 3.5. Well, our answers have to be as fractions, so I'm going to go ahead and change them to fractions. If I type in 0.5 in the calculator and then hit math, the first option is fractions, so that will change 0.5 to a fraction, which is indeed 1/2. Now I want to change 3.5 to a fraction, so I type it in, hit math, hit enter, and I get 7/2. So now I can write my equation. The slope is your a or your m. So y is equal to 1/2 x plus your b, which is your y-intercept or your starting point, which is 7/2. Okay. All right, number 4 says, for each question, x varies directly. Whenever you see this word, you need to remember this means proportional, okay? Direct variation and proportional mean the same thing. So it is proportional with y. Match each question with the correct answer. Answers may be used more than once. Some answers will not be used. Okay, so it's proportional, so that means I can set up a proportion. And it's saying, what is the value of x when y is negative 24 and x is negative 4? So we're talking about x over y. Got our proportion. So I'm going to say, I don't know what x is, but negative 24 is on the bottom. And then I have negative 4 over negative 12. Well, I could go from negative 12 to negative 24 by multiplying by 2. So on the top, I'm going to multiply by 2. So negative 8 is my answer for the first one. I can continue this by doing negative 18 over something is equal to negative 12 over 72. I can't easily go from negative 12 to negative 18, but I could cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply negative 18 times 72. So negative 18 times 72. And then when you cross multiply, you divide by the number that's left. So I'm going to divide by negative 12, which gets me 108. And the last one, again, we're going to set up our proportion. We have negative 18. Oops, this one I put y on top. As long as I'm consistent, it'll be okay. And then 2 over negative 8. To go from 2 to negative 18, I'd be multiplying times negative 6. So here, or not negative 6, negative 9, excuse me, negative 9. So here, I will multiply by negative 9 as well. Negative 8 times negative 9 is 72. Those were all answer choices, so we're good. Number 5, the height of a burning candle can be modeled using the linear equation h is equal to 30 minus 1/24 t, where t represents time in minutes and h represents the candle's height in centimeters. What is the meaning of the y-intercept of the equation? Okay, the y-intercept, remember, is something that you're being added or subtracted. So here, our y-intercept is 30. Okay, it's the thing that does not have the variable. Well, and it says we're talking about the candle in centimeters. So remember, the y-intercept is your starting point. So basically, it means that the candle, if I could spell candle started at 30 centimeters tall. Okay, the candle was 30 centimeters tall. And it says t represents time in minutes. And our rate here is negative 1/24. Because it's burning, it's going down. So what is the meaning of the slope in the equation? Well, it's going down 1 centimeter for every 24 minutes. Well, how did I know that it was 1 centimeter for every 24 minutes? Well, remember, time is always independent. So time is always going to be your x. And when we look at our rate, it's going to be change in y over change in x. Well, y was the centimeters. X has to be the height in minutes. So 1 centimeter for every 24 minutes. Number 6, Mary makes bracelets at a rate represented by the algebraic equation y equals 4x, where x is the number of days and y is the total number of bracelets made. Mary also makes necklaces at a rate shown in the graph. Based on the information, what is the difference in the rate of change between the two functions? Okay, I already know one of them. The first rate of change is 4. I just got to figure out what the second one is, and then I'm looking for the difference, so I will subtract them. So I'm looking for a perfect point. I see my first perfect point is over here with the 10. So I rise, meaning we go up 10, and I run, I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rate for this graph is going to be 10 over 4. I can simplify that down to 5 halves. And then I want the difference between them. So we're going to do 4 minus 5 halves, and your calculator can do that for you. 4 minus, you can type a fraction in the calculator just by putting it in parentheses. I got a decimal. I want my answer to be a fraction. Math, enter, enter. So the difference between them is 3 halves. Alrighty, the graph shows the amount of candy bars sold at a fundraiser, and the amount of money collected. Write an equation that depicts the relationship. Okay, I already see my y-intercept. Remember, your y-intercept is where you touch the y-axis. It touches at 0. Now I just have to find another perfect point. Well, there's another perfect point over here. I go up 5. Make sure you pay attention to the scale. And I went over 2. So the slope, rise over run, 5 over 2. The y-intercept is where I touch the y-axis, which is just 0. So I can say y is equal to 5 halves x plus 0. Do I really need to write the 0? No. I could just say y is equal to 5 halves x. Number 8, the graph shows the price charged by a company to make international phone calls from the United States. Based on the graph, what does the slope of the line represent? Okay, it says each call costs 3 cents per minute. Well, we're talking about the slope. So the very first thing I should do is find the slope. So I have a perfect point here at 0, 0, and then at 15, 5. So from 0 to 15, I go up 15, and then I go over 5. So rise over run, 15 over 5. That simplifies to 3, okay? And remember, we're talking y over x. The y is the cents. The x is the minutes. So this is 3 over 1. So this is, if we're talking about cents over minutes, this is really 3 cents in 1 minute. Well, 3 cents in 1 minute, our best answer is A. All right, number 9. Write the slope and the equation of the following graph. Well, I can pick 2 points off this if I did not already know what the slope was. So I'll pick 2 points. It doesn't matter which 2 as long as they're on the line. And I can make a table. So I have a point at 2, negative 4. And then I have a point at 8, negative 4. To go from negative 4 to negative 4, that's plus 0. To go from 2 to 8, that's plus 6. 0 over 6, change in y over change in x. Well, 0 is allowed to be in the numerator. It's just not allowed to be in the denominator. So this will simplify to a slope of 0. And whenever I have a slope of 0 or a horizontal line, my equation is just whatever y value I have. So the y value is negative 4. So the equation is y equals negative 4. Number 10, what does point N represent on the graph? Okay, well, our X value are hours, our Y is miles. So N is at 2.9. So remember, we're talking about hours. You're using this the labels of the X and Y axes to help you. Hours, miles. So 2 hours, 9 miles. Oh, not 2, 3. I'm sorry, I misread that. 3 hours, 9 miles. So here, a distance of 3 miles per 9 hours. Well, 3 was hours, not miles, so A doesn't make sense. A distance of 9 miles per 3 hours. 9 miles, 3 hours. That sounds pretty good. 1/9 of a mile in 3 hours? That sounds like you're running very slowly. 1/3 of a mile in 9 hours? Again, very slow. Don't make sense. B is the best choice. 11, a bus travels 25 miles in 30 minutes. Which graph has the slope that represents the number of miles per minute the bus travels? Okay, look at your labels. The Y is miles, the X is minutes. So miles over minutes. So we're talking about 25 over 30. I can simplify that down to 5, 6. So we want something that goes up 5 over 6. Or I could double that and say we want something up 10 over 12, something along those lines. So here it says up 10 over 10. Maybe. I'd see if there's a better choice first off. So if I go up 25, I want to be able to go over 30. So up 25 over 30. This one looks like it's 30 over 30, so I don't think that's quite it. Here, if I went up 25, goes over 30, looks pretty good. If I go up 10, I went over a little bit past 10. That makes sense. This one, if I go up 25, I only go over 10, so that one's out. This one's 10 by 10, and this one, if I go up 25, I only went over 20, so that one's not the right answer. Our best answer is that one. Okay, identify if the following graph is a function. To do this, you are going to use the vertical line test. You're going to take your pen or pencil and drag it across and see if it intersects more than once. It is a function because it passes the vertical line test. If I put a vertical line on this, I'm only going to touch the graph once. So yes, it is a function, passes the vertical line test, or the VLT. All right, please turn into your worksheets.